going on. And then if they were hypnotizing that there's surely no evidence of being, abducted, then they can move on. But if there has been, I think a person would want to know. I mean, but the thought about it, if you were, either one of you guys were abducted or I was abducted, I would be terrified to the day I die, because I would be scared I would have to go through it again and again and again. I don't know. It seems like it's, again, I'm stressing, there's so many people claiming they're being abducted. There's literally people coming out of the woodwork claiming they were. And if that's the case, something is major hitting the fan, because it's gone from a few people to literally thousands of people saying they were abducted.
And imagine all the ones that aren't admitting it or coming forward. There's a whole big group of those people also. And another thing, kind of Sam touched on, and you did too the other day, is about maybe these aliens can put in your mind what you're trying to think about. Like, these people are out looking for Bigfoot. Maybe they're like playing with their mind, or like you see owls and not really owls. You're seeing aliens, but they don't want you to think that. They're playing with your head. And then you got all this missing time, so where's it going?
And maybe these portals that out in the woods or out on the street are not portals. Maybe they're door hatches to a UFO. Who knows?
That's why I'm, in my own personal case, that's why I think I'm being watched sometimes in the woods. And one time I captured on video what looked like shape-shifting entity. And it started out when it just sort of just fuzzed in out of nothing and looked immediately like one of the grays. And then as I walked past it with the camera, and I wasn't really focused on it, it slowly morphed from a gray into looking like a Bigfoot. And so that was really that was really a eye opener about some things, because I know Bigfoots exist. I know other kinds of cryptids exist, but then I'm also becoming more aware of the imposters that are going to pretend to be something else.
Well, maybe they're not pretending. Well, this like that one wildlife official I had on my show, and I mentioned this the other day. Okay, he saw grays, like 3 or 4 of them, walking towards his bedroom and coming through the wall and window and abduct him. And then all of a sudden, he writes a book, because now he's seen owls every time he's doing his job out there in the forest. He sees owls everywhere. I don't think there's that many owls where you're going to go out and see flocks of owls all the time. And he wrote a book about that, and I confronted him. I said, do you ever think when you were abducted that night in your bed, and whatever they did to you, they implanted, because maybe you like owls. Maybe that when they scanned your brain, owls showed up. So now when you see an alien or a UFO out there, you don't see the UFO. You don't see the alien gray that abducted you, or one of them abducted you. You see owls in its place. The same way, I think, maybe because when people are targeted, like on Bigfoot, yes, I believe they do exist, but I think a lot of reports of Bigfoot are not Bigfoot. I think it's the same thing. You stumble across something, and they know what humans think about. What would scare a human in the forest normally? A Bigfoot. An average person would be scared if they ran across a Bigfoot. Even if you're looking for one, you're going to be scared if you actually ran into one physically. So I think that... Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's like a post-hypnotic suggestion. Go ahead, Trent.
I was just going to say I totally agree with that, and I think they use your thoughts and your head, what you socialize with, against you. Like, you're pretty much what you're saying. Instead of seeing aliens, it might be 3 of them sitting there watching you. You're not seeing the aliens. You're seeing owls or a Bigfoot or whatever, and I think they're using your thoughts against you to hide themselves.
Yeah, or they're watching you or whatever, just to see how you respond. Maybe that's it too. Maybe that's one of their tests.
That's a good point.
That's one of the things I come across. It seems like, my inner thoughts about this whole thing, and over the past few years for myself personally, is like being observed all the time for some specific reason. So it's really hard to tell intent, because there's agendas out there with different beings, and even though I seem to have a a fairly good feeling about certain ones of them out here. I don't know about the rest of them. See, that's the whole point. I don't know. I've been to other areas where I got a horrible feeling, and they're not all the same. There's the good and bad and everything. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I can tell you this from, listening to our guest tonight and many other guests I've had on. I've never had, except for a couple strange people, I'll be honest with you. Those are the ones I took down the rabbit hole and couldn't figure out how to get back out. Is when they started saying they're here to protect mankind and save Earth from destruction, and they're going to save us. I don't know what they're smoking or drinking or what pills they're taking, but you know what? I don't think that's what's going on. From all the credible reports I get, they all say the same thing what Calvin said. That one magic word. What is it, guys? Evil.
Evil. Well, I think anything that comes to you and tries to offer salvation and says, we're come here to save you, or whatever the case may be, I'm always going to think about that Twilight Zone episode where they come to serve men, and they turn out to be cannibals. So I'm of the firm belief that I don't think I need, the only savior I'm looking for is the one that I'm going to create myself, within myself. And I'm not going to depend on ETs to tell me that I want to be under subservitude to one group of ETs or another group of ETs just because I want to be saved. I don't want to be subjugated to anybody like that.
Well,
period.
You know how many comments I've been getting on emails? I've been between that and on my messenger on my phone, and it's blowing up. In fact, my phone is totally dead, and I had it even on the charger tonight. That's how many texts I've been getting, or messages, instant messages off of it. But you know what? When I mentioned the magic words tonight, that how do we know that not when they're abducting these people, that they're actually replacing them with clones and loading the memory from the person who's been abducted into the clone, and then they send the clone back as a replacement.
Oh, yeah. Just like we talked about earlier in the show. The same thing, just like the movie that we referred to, The Imposter.
Oh, yeah. I still always remember that old movie, and I can't think of Sutherland. I can't think of his first name.
Oh, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, I keep thinking about that, because that movie was ahead of its time. How do we know that isn't going on? Maybe we don't have pods. They just take you up, and then they load a duplicate person. Maybe that's why they take your DNA and do all that stuff, and then they create a instant duplicate of you with a different type of motive behind.
Right, and then the old you is maybe your food. Let's face it.
Or they just dump you out in space, cremate you. You're gone, vaporized.
Oh, or like it is.
They turn you into Soylent Green.
That's not going to happen for about 40 years, guys.
Oh, I thought I'd throw that one out, though.
Now,
that's not funny at all.
No, but you know what? Again, like I said, that Swedish scientist is going around and saying, hey, that'll help our food supply in about 40 years when we don't have enough food. And I looked at that and I go, man, he must have watched charles-hickson in that movie. I tell you, he had to.
Or the hills have eyes or something.
And how would he know what human flesh would taste like? He said human flesh doesn't taste bad. I have never thought about even thinking about human flesh.
Well, they didn't tell him, and they didn't tell those people in that movie that it was from humans until they figured that out at the end of the movie.
I know. Wouldn't that be horrible to find out your favorite food bar was your Aunt Bertha, who played a saxophone at the sex quartet at the nudist camp? I mean, that would be so horrible to take a bite out of her.
She might be a little.
Well, it's funny that it's not the only movie like that. It implies that there's a reference to that in the movie Cloud Atlas on the future scene. If you haven't seen that movie, it talked about where there's recycling humans and they're eating themselves basically. They'd turn you into biscuits. And then there was one other one I can't think of that did the same thing because the food supply ran short. I think it was called Super Train. But I
correlated
all that. Oh, yeah.
The train, it never stops.
Yeah, that one. Do you remember what happened? They found out they were eating recycled human products.
Yeah. Ooh, God, now I'm not going to be able to sleep again tonight.
Boy, oh boy. I lost my appetite.
Oh, come on. You eat, I don't know anybody can eat sugar frosted flakes as much as you. And come on, nothing can kill your appetite, guy.
Well, at least I know it's not long pig. It's something else. So is it green, maybe? Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well,
I'd have a diabetic reaction if I ate that many flakes.
I don't know. Or how about head cheese? Oh, yeah, head cheese. Yeah. That's from Uncle Ben.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, you want to come over tomorrow for breakfast? I'm having scrambled pork brains. I don't know.
Jeez.
I don't know. It just makes me wonder what is going on. Nobody, you know what? You got all these experts on there. They can only give you what they feel. Now, what makes them the expert? Because they've been talking about ufology for a long time. Honestly, nobody knows what's going on with these abductions, why the cattle mutilation is going on. I would think that would have been over with a long time ago. I mean, you know, I unless they want certain parts of the animal for some reason. And you know, then I keep thinking, I'm not going to mention the name of the guest because I'm not sure if it's the right guess. But I remember I had a guest on, I don't know if you remember, James, he said that he was on a UFO, that they were taking samples of his DNA and then they forcibly removed sperm from his testicles. You remember that?
I believe that was Dave.
That's what I was thinking, but I don't want to say his last name because I'm not sure. But
right.
So that is really invasive there too. So I mean, that's not showing love towards somebody.
Well, you know, one of the major factors here that's going to make this hard to figure out any of this is I guarantee you there is several different races of aliens that may not even like each other, that it's got their own agendas in this. So it's not like you can say, well, they're here doing this and that's that, because you've got God knows how many different races with their own different agendas. That's the hard part here.
Okay, now, James, I'm going to correct you. Let's drop the word races and put in species.
Okay, species then, whatever you want to call them. But I know there's different species of aliens besides just one coming here, and they've all got their own agendas. And that's the hard part, is figuring out what do they all want, what are they all after.
I guess they're after us.
There's just one other thought that I don't think anybody's really thought about this. If they're all trying to get the DNA and study it, that means they didn't create it. That means something more superior than the ETs created it. And they're trying to figure it out.
Probably. Or they're regenerating their species with our sperm or our eggs. Because, I mean, I've had women who claim they've been abducted and had eggs removed out of their ovaries. So, I mean, again, is that showing love towards a human race?
No, not at all. Matter of fact, if I took you out of your bed and jammed my fingers up your nose and did some silly things to you and erased your brain and put you back, you'd be a little upset at me.
Well, I'd be calling the FBI and whoever would answer the phone. That's what I'd be doing.
And I would deny it. I would deny the charges.
Yeah, you're going to deny it while you're holding somebody's testicles in a jar and saying, hey, I'm creating a new species here.
I'm trying to help mankind out.
Hey, guys, the time has gone by really fast. And, you know, I want to thank both of you guys for coming on. It's been a great show. I mean, I've had, during this show, like I said, my phone never goes dead, especially with a charger hooked onto it. That's what I've been doing. I've been replying to people all night long. They've been texting me and instant messaging me. And on my one computer, I've gotten probably a good 100 emails from people that have been listening tonight. So I tell you, I think the show was a hit tonight.
Oh, nice. You too.
Well, guys, till tomorrow and all that stuff, stay out of trouble. Don't break any mirrors tonight, James. And I can tell you, you don't have to lock your doors unless you got a predator down the street, because it doesn't matter. Whatever these grays or these aliens are, they're just going to walk right through your wall anyway.
Yep.
Yep.
Sam, have a great night. and I will talk to you tomorrow, Gary.
Okay, guys. You guys all take care.